everyone, Bree here again with Bug Out with Bree. Today we're going to be walking around my local neighborhood to talk about a very important species. But first, let's dissect the word bug. Bug is a broad term used to define any creepy crawler, but bug also includes all of the arthropods, which are insects, crustaceans, and arachnids, and many more. And this week we're going to continue the conversation and talk about another important pollinator species, the bee. Pollinators are a diverse and fascinating group of animals. Pollinators provide an important link to our environment by moving pollen between flowers and ensuring the growth of seeds and fruits. The work of pollinators impacts our lives every day through the food we eat. Bees are classified as invertebrates, which are animals without a backbone. And more specifically, bees are insects. There are about 20,000 species of bees worldwide, and they form one of the most important groups of pollinators. Like most wildlife, they are affected by changes in their environment, from habitat loss to food source availability. Now let's take a closer look at bees in our own backyard. Around my neighborhood, these bees tend to hang around this purple plant called the Pride of Madeira, Echium fastuosum. These bees are gathering nectar, and the hairs on their legs gather pollen. When the bee flies to the next flower, the pollen on their legs fertilize the next flower, which could turn into the fruit and vegetables that we eat. On average, bees can fly 15 miles per hour, and their wings beat about 190 beats per second. Plants rely on bees and other insects to reproduce, so they have adapted over time to become more attractive to them. Bees are drawn to plants with open or flat tubular flowers with lots of pollen and nectar. A flower scent can have a particular appeal to bees, and its bright colors may lure the bees in. Let's take a closer look at this flower. Flower structures can vary greatly, but they all share the same basic parts. Next, we're going to take some time dissecting a flower, and you can do the same with your family at home to see how pollination works. This is my makeshift dissection area. On the board I have the parts of the flower, and down below I have a few plant species that I found, but today I'm going to dissect this ice plant flower. It's an invasive species, but it does have the same main parts of the flower. If you go on the Museum to You website from the Pacific Grove Museum, you can see I put up a worksheet that shows the basic parts of the flower, so you can do this at home with your family. Let's first go over the parts of the flower. In the center of the flower is usually the female organ, so you have your stigma, which is on top, and that's the sticky part that collects the pollen. And then this tube is the style, which has the ovaries at the bottom. And down here you can see that the stigma and the style create the pistil, and that pistil is the female reproductive part. On the opposite sides, usually surrounding the pistil, you have your stamen. The stamen is the male reproductive part. And on top you have your anther, which has all the pollen associated with it, and then the base is the filament. So down here you can see the anther and the filament equal the stamen, the male reproductive part. Remember, pollinization is the transfer of pollen from male to female flower parts. So when a bee collects nectar from the flower, some of the pollen from the stamen, the male reproductive part, sticks to the hairs of the bee's body. When the bee visits the next flower, some of the pollen is rubbed off onto the stigma, the top part of the pistil, which is the female reproductive part. And when this happens, fertilization is possible. And now we're going to get to dissecting our flower. A few things you'll need are scissors and tweezers. If you are using scissors, make sure you do have a parent around helping you. So the first thing, we're going to take that ice plant flower I was talking about. We're going to cut right through. It may be hard to see, so that's why I do have the diagram behind me as well to show you. But you'll just cut it right in half, as I did here. Then we'll take our tweezers to look at the different parts of the flower. You'll have your petals on the outside. This harder green part area is called the sepal, which protects the flower when it's closed. And then if you cut right through and look right in the middle, you're going to be able to see that the inside is the pistil, and surrounding the pistil are the stamen, the male reproductive parts. I'll try to get a closer view here, but I'll attach some pictures as well. Check out the flowers and pollinators around your area and let me know how it turns out.